famous Henry Ford once said that motorsports began 5 minutes after the second car was built. Today, we look at an entry-level motorsport that acts as a stepping stone for drivers who'd like to get into something more competitive and possibly more expensive. Joining me today is Michael Kinoti, a national autocross championship racer. How are you doing?
I'm good.
What's up? So tell me about autocross.
Well, what autocross is, it's a time trial event for buggies, rally cars, quad bikes.
Yeah.
We race off-road on tracks, usually about 2 to 6 kilometers long. During the races, we have 4 heats. So your best 3 out of those 4 heats are added up together to give you your time. And that's how we choose the winner. And in the championship, we have 2 extra bonus points for the fastest lap of the day, the fastest overall lap of the day.
Wow, that's good. So tell me about this, your car.
Well, what this is a buggy. Essentially what that is, it's a frame car. As you can see, the metal welded together and you have the engine at the back. The essence of this design is to have a lower power to weight ratio. So let's say in this car we have a Starlet turbo. So having that more powerful engine in a lighter frame gives us more power, and it's especially designed for low end power. So most of the power is at the low end, not so much at the top high speeds like rally cars.
So tell us, where did this love for motorsport come from?
When I was young, I'd always go for rallies with my dad and my brother, and we're always big fans of Formula 1. So that's where my interest in racing began. And for my participation, it was first at GP karting here in Langata. That's the first place where I tasted racing. And so the first time I did go karting, I loved it immediately. So I'd go there almost every single weekend just to practice until I joined the national championship and managed to win a championship in go-karting. So that's the genesis of my love for racing.
That's good. So your engine looks a bit complicated. Could you tell us the specifications of the vehicle?
Well, the engine here, we have taken it out of a Starlet turbo and put it at the back of this buggy. The modifications we made is such as racing bearings. We have racing pistons and racing spark plugs, and also even the air intake. We always use this racing air intake. With the gearbox, it's a standard gearbox, but I use a racing clutch which allows you to change gears quickly. It's a full manual. And then the suspension, we have the regular shocks you'd have, let's say, in a normal car. However, on this lighter frame, it gives a lot better stability than you'd get usually. Here at the back, we have 2 for extra stability at the back. Then we have racing brake pads to improve the braking of the car. Yeah, so those are the modifications I've made.
We at Daimlar Motorsports seek to find out about car enthusiasts. How would you define one?
Well, a car enthusiast to me is anyone who loves cars, be it racing them, driving them, working on them. Those are the different types of car enthusiasts I see. And just the general love for cars and getting involved in the process of being around a car, building it, racing, driving. Yeah, so I would say the easiest way to know if you're a car enthusiast, maybe you're spending a bit more money than you should be on your own car. You're probably a car enthusiast, definitely.
Okay, so could you tell us the journey and what it took to build this your vehicle from the beginning?
So this car, we bought it second hand. It was previously owned by someone who had been competing in autocross and had performed really well. And when we bought it, it came with a number of spare parts. It had a spare engine, several spare shocks, spare rims, spare tires. So that was really good for me to start out, be able to go out and practice and not worry so much about getting those spares. And I'd say the journey, it's had good days and bad days. We've had days where the car's really been performed, the car's really performed well, such as when I had fastest time in the first race. That was a really good day for me. But then other days where it has problems, like last race you had an issue with the turbo. So I'd say racing, it really teaches you how to take the good and the bad, learn from your mistakes, and you really have to realize that sometimes it might not go well, other times it will go well. So you just have to always focus on improving and making sure that everything works well. I'd say also you need a lot of commitment to be able to prepare the car in time, to make sure that everything's ready for the race, because it's very time consuming, especially on weekends.
So what are your training habits like?
Well, stay fit. I run a lot. That's something I do almost, let's say, 3 or 4 times a week. I do that to just have good cardio. Also I work out with the gym maybe around twice a week, just to get strong, especially in your arms, because this car has no power steering. So sometimes after races your arms can really feel it, especially your wrist. So I try to stay strong in that. And then during the races, when we're racing, I just focus on eating light, focusing on a lot of energy drinks, fruits, a good breakfast, to stay focused during the races.
Okay, so if not motorsports, what do you think you'd be doing? Like, what are your other interests?
Well, to be honest, from when I was young, I always viewed my life to be involved in racing. So whether I was racing or working on cars, I'd always be involved in motorsport in one way or another. My other interests, I'd say I've always been a big sports fan. Football, rugby. I always watch those. So
So who would you say is your inspiration?
Well, I draw inspiration from fellow Kenyan athletes where I'd say I've made it. People like Wanyama and Julius Ego, because they've shown the next generation of sportsmen in Kenya that if you work hard enough, you can get to the top and you can make it. So that's where I draw inspiration from.
Okay, so there's a tough question that's commonly asked. Who do you think is faster between Batman and Superman?
Well, definitely Superman is faster, but if I was to pick one, I'd always say Batman is way cooler than Superman.
I think some have to disagree. So anyways, what is the scariest thing that's ever happened while you were driving?
Well, when I was in karting once, I hit one of the barriers on the track. The kart actually turned over and I broke my collarbone. That was pretty scary for me, but I recovered after 3 months. I was still back in the go-kart because it's something I enjoy doing. But it was quite scary to break a bone karting. That was something I never expected.
Aren't your parents scared, like when you're driving, racing? Don't they see when you're going too fast? Don't they say you're going too fast? Something like that?
Well, I'd say no, because my parents, especially my dad, they're the ones who introduced me to racing. So they always encourage me. Maybe my mom, I'd say, gets scared sometimes. But no, not really, because they know it's safe. Racing is very safe. And that's why we dress up like this. We have the helmet and we have these cars that are designed to keep us safe on track.
Explain to us about the interior of the vehicle.
Okay, so starting the dashboard, what we have here is the start button. That's to switch on the buggy. And then from start I go on to switching on the fuel pump, which you can hear if I switch on. And then there's also the fans that I switch on. So after I start, those are the first two things. Here we have the fuse box. Here is a rep counter, it tells me the RPM I'm at. Here is my lights. Here's a horn. I don't use that much, but it's nice to have it there. This is the start button. So once you flip the switch like this, you push to start the buggy. And then here, what we have is the anti-lag switch. So that switches on the anti-lag for the turbo, and that keeps the turbo running when you're off the accelerator. so you never lose boost. Because it's important to always keep the boost up. And here's the boost gauge. So this is how I monitor the boost. So I would say the two most important gauges here, this one and the rev counter. Speedo is not so important. I don't have one here because you're not worried so much about your speed, but the revs you're at and how much boost the turbo is giving you, those you definitely want to know. And then here I've also added a shift light just to be able to shift at the right time. And then with the seat, you have the belts. This is what keeps you strapped into the car in case of any accidents or anything. You definitely won't have those on. And then you have it's a full manual, so I have the gear stick on the right and then the handbrake on the left. So when I'm doing the handbrake turns, you have to be really quick moving from one side to the other. And then on both your sides flanking you, there are fire extinguishers. Because part of our safety rules, you have to have a built-in fire extinguisher system in case of a fire. So those fire extinguishers are there, and I activate it by pulling this knob. So in case I roll or a fire starts, I just pull this and it sprays the extinguisher on the engine and here in the cockpit to protect me.
Apart from crashing in the GP karting, what other challenges have you faced during racing?
Well, the two biggest challenges you face in racing, one is reliability, and two is the cost. Of course, with racing there's a big cost involved because you always have to upgrade and maintain the car. This year we've been fortunate enough, Extreme Sports have come on board to sponsor us for this season, which has been a big help. But in racing, costs is always a factor, and as you improve, also the costs go up.
So in the world, what would you say is your dream car?
Well, right now the car I really like is the Mercedes AMG GTS, because that car just looks neat. It's a proper racer. It won in Nürburgring, so I really like that car.
That's good. So what do you think is your next step after buggies? Rallying maybe?
Well, for me, I've always dreamed of making this into a profession. So my next step, I'm still weighing the option between rallying or racing. I'll be going to Europe soon. So right now that's what I'm working on, to be able to get a program together to allow me to race abroad. And also, I also want to test myself among the best, wherever the best competition is.
What would you tell someone your age who would like to start motorsports but they don't know where to start?
Well, I'd say if you want to get involved in motorsport, in whichever way you can, just go ahead. Be it karting, you can go karting. That's a good place to start, probably the best place, because it teaches you driving, good techniques. Be it if you know someone who's involved, or you can get in touch with someone who's involved, find a role you can play in the team or in any way. Organizers, also KMSF does a lot with organizing, and usually they need volunteers, so you can get involved with them. And then slowly learn more about the sport until you can be able to finally get through and get people to support you. I would say an important thing is like the support I've gotten from my parents. That was very important for racing. So get involved with the sport and see who can support you, be it your parents or a mentor or whoever.
So thank you for having us today, and what a wonderful review that we had today, Michael. Hoping to see you soon on the track.
Definitely, you guys are always welcome.
So if you'd like to see Michael in action on the track, do catch up next time for the second episode. Until next time, goodbye and drive safe. Today we look at one entry-level motorsport that acts as a stepping stone to racers who like racing.
Gives like almost. Okay, sorry. Hold. So, I just continue.
Action.
Joining me today is still
Getting spares and okay.
looking to move.
You're good. News record.
No, okay.